Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. For those who've been rocking with the fellas, you guys kind of know that SJ Alofaituli was kind of my guy over the last couple of weeks and months. Mario Cristobal, the Miami Hurricanes, come in and get this one done for what I think is one of the most polished offensive linemen you see in the 2025 class, and a guy that, quite frankly, and for those who kind of listen to us talk recruiting, you guys know I don't say this very often. This could be a year one starter at the Power 5 level. And you look at SJ Alofaituli, what do you love the most is not only just a physically developed kid that's closer to 300 pounds, kind of has that body that's ready to play year one, but I think more importantly, this kid's a technician. You can just tell he's played a ton of football throughout his high school career, and that's because he has. And he's going to be a 4-year starter for Bishop Gorman out in Las Vegas. This kid's a technician. He plays the game of football at such a high level. And I look at this Miami Hurricanes offensive line class and say, I love this pickup for two reasons. One, we're going to get into the film. This kid is just an awesome offensive lineman. But I think more importantly, you look at how this offensive line class is coming together for Miami. You kind of took some flyers, if you will, on guys like Demetrius Campbell and Takayla Mooks and Jaden Wilkerson. I think you wanted to balance out some of those, we maybe say like lottery takes into, you wanted to balance it out with some guys that you just kind of know are going to be really good football players. You look at the last two offensive linemen Miami has gone out and grabbed, Max Buchanan and now SJ Alofaituli. I mean, those are two guys with extremely high floors. You just know they're going to be good football players. So from an offensive line construction perspective, I really like what Miami's doing on the offensive line. Now we're going to get into the film of SJ Alofaituli, talk about how this Miami Hurricanes offensive line class is coming together. Before we do, just want to say thank you to you guys and the Miami Hurricane fans. It's been no secret. We've been talking a lot about this program, breaking down a lot of commitments, the amount of support you guys continue to show. It truly does mean a lot. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. And without further ado, let's get into SJ. And I think you want to start with, again, this kid is going to be a year 4 starter for Bishop Gorman. We're about to take a look at his freshman and sophomore tape because we couldn't find any junior tape. This kid looks like he's been playing at a high level since his freshman year of high school. A couple of things that you really like. One, he is an elite athlete that carries his frame exceptionally well. You see a lot of offensive linemen at the high school level, kind of still growing into their body, not necessarily being the most functional athletes for their size. You look at SJ and say, one, gets off the line of scrimmage exceptionally well, can operate in a lot of different schemes, whether you're just asking him to road grade a little bit, whether you're asking him to get out in space. That athleticism allows him to be extremely versatile. I think secondly, when he's working to the second level, it's exceptional. It doesn't get any better. This is a guy that when you ask him to combo block, work a double team, get up to a linebacker, kind of concepts that you don't see a ton of offensive linemen at the high school level have a ton of success with. SJ has a ton of success with that. And so you start kind of sprinkling in all of these factors and say, this kid it's just really hard not to see SJ Alofaituli going to the collegiate level and not being an all-conference player for the Miami Hurricanes. Really excited to get into the film. I think a thing that I probably should have noted off the bat too, he's got some versatility, right? This is a guy that we're going to see a lot of guard tape right now, but he's a guy that can snap the football and play center. And so you have a guy that can play all three positions on the inside of the offensive line. You absolutely love that kind of versatility, especially when it comes into you want to get on the field early. For Miami, you want to be able to play a bunch of different positions. SJ Alofaituli certainly can do that. You fire up the film, and again, one, I love the get off. I mean, when you look at the get off for SJ coming off the line of scrimmage, it's some next level stuff. Extremely violent at the point of attack. You see him work up to the linebacker. Again, this is textbook, right? Double team, find the linebacker, put the linebacker in the dirt, kind of a walking touchdown. This is some textbook reps from SJ Alofaituli on the film. And so you start combining some really good traits with just an absolute technician on the offensive line. That's what excites you the most. You see him pulling around. And again, we kind of talked about this. There's a lot of different things you can do with him. He is not a one-dimensional offensive lineman in the slightest. We're going to pull him onto the play side. Again, so so violent at the point of attack. You absolutely love that. The feed and pass protection, absolutely phenomenal here, working at this right tackle spot. I mean, just really, really comfortable in pass protection, which shouldn't come as a surprise because we're talking about a phenomenal athlete there. Maybe gets away with a little bit of a hold on that rep, but we'll let it fly. He was a freshman in that piece of film right there. Working to the second level, violent at the point of attack. Every kind of rep you see, it just looks so solid. And the command that he has of his frame, the violence of which he plays at, pulling around to the play side, getting to the second level, getting a hat on a hat, getting a little nasty, letting his running back get into the end zone. Not a lot of boxes. You can't teach this. I mean, you take a look at this right guard side, kind of a little simple pull here where we're going to fit this guy up. The grip strength, the lower body power, it's all there, puts the defensive lineman in the dirt. He gets off the line of scrimmage so well. You see him kind of sealing that hole right there. Not much SJ can't do. And if you're a Miami Hurricanes fan, it just looks like you're getting an elite caliber offensive lineman that has all the traits to be an elite offensive lineman. But I think more importantly, is a guy that's very easy to project to being a very good football player at the collegiate level. You start scrolling down. I want to dive into this offensive line class a little bit more, where you look at the takes Miami's had on the offensive line. Max Buchanan, Demetrius Campbell, Takayla Moose, and Jaden Wilkerson. We talked about Max Buchanan. We are significantly higher on Max Buchanan than 24/7 Sports is, and you'll see some other recruiting services be much higher on Max Buchanan as well. So kind of the way I look at it is you got SJ and Max Buchanan, especially on the inside of the offensive line. I think Max Buchanan could play tackle if you wanted him to. They're just going to be hammers. And so you took two offensive linemen that you just kind of know are going to be really good football players. And then you look at Demetrius Campbell, Takayla Mooks, and Jaden Wilkerson and say, those guys are going to need some reps, right? We kind of know that they're not going to be year one, probably not year two guys either, but we're going to bet on the upside. And you see the frames of all three of them, 6'6", 6'6", and then Takayla Mooks, 6'3.5", 340 pounds. You're seeing Miami kind of take some guys that are just going to be really high ceiling players. Hey, we know we're going to hit on guys like Max Buchanan and SJ. And then you look at Demetrius Campbell, Takayla Mooks, and Jaden Wilkerson. I think this was a result of the offensive tackle class in the state of Florida just not being that good this year. Not a ton of talent at IMG Academy on the offensive line. So what does Miami decide to do? Hey, we'll just take some flyers on some offensive linemen that aren't necessarily great football players right now, but could be very good football players 2 to 3 years down the road. I'm a fan of what Mario Cristobal has done on the offensive line. Should shout out Alex Mirabal as well. We'll close it out there. Again, appreciate you guys rocking with the fellas. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.